What is up, duelists? Arts and Crafts here, once again bringing you your daily dose of Yu-Gi-Oh! GOAT format content. Apologies for not uploading a video yesterday. I was, gasp, actually playing Yu-Gi-Oh! Instead of talking about it, which I don't always get the opportunity to do nowadays, but a friend was willing to slam some games, so I took the opportunity. Now, to make it up to you all, I do have an exciting announcement that tomorrow I will actually be doing the official live stream for the Format Library Championship number 36 starting tomorrow. I'm just doing day one, but I'll be over on the main goatformat.com YouTube channel doing the stream and the coverage for at least the first, I think it's 6 to 7 rounds of Swiss is what we're doing in day one. So really excited to be doing that, bringing you guys some live GOAT format content, so definitely check that out tomorrow if you are around. Now back to today's video. For today's feature match, we've got John Doe 297 versus Kerman. As always, both players rated in the top 200 of the Dueling Book GOAT format ladder at the time this match was played. Let's hop right into it. It's very loud. John Doe will be leading us off here, and they are going to start off with a set monster with a couple back row, giving away no information. We'll see how Kerman can approach here. We're going to get an Insta Trap Dust Shoot here in the standby phase. Looks like Kerman only has a Desk Koala in hand, so that's going to be ripped back. It looks like we've got potentially Chaos Turbo versus Burn. Main deck Serpent makes me think that this has to be Control or Turbo, most likely. Could be something else weird like Ritual Chaos or something, but Turbo till proven otherwise, right, guys? And now you know you're playing up against some sort of Burn variant. Main deck Koala here, so maybe more of a stall version with like Big Shield Gardenas, stuff like that. And you know you have to deal with, one Battle Floodgate out of your opponent with the level limit Area B, which could put quite the stop to whatever John Doe is trying to do here. As well as a nice little combo. We've got Trio plus Just Desserts, kind of Secret Barrel. If John Doe's set monster is a Gravekeeper Spy, they might be in for a world of hurt here with basically the perfect counter to that in Kerman's hand here. So interested to see how John Doe is going to play this one out. But might be tricky because Burn has a pretty good hand here. Go hide the hands though, of course. Kerman is going to go ahead and probably just set a bunch of stuff. Yeah, that's what we see. So, likely we've got the 3 traps that we knew about, right? Trio, Just Desserts, and Secret Barrel all being set. John Doe here going to draw for turn. Not anything crazy going on. Tribe Infecting Virus is really good against an opposing Ojama Trio, although Kerman can, of course, chain them together in such a way that all the damage comes through in one chain, and Tribe doesn't really get to do its thing too much. So interesting. Yeah, we'll see. John Doe probably holds back on that one for now. If the set monster is Spy, there's a world where you probably don't flip it, just so you have the Tribe to summon if we get trioed, though. But if your set is like Dekoichi or something, you're just going to send it here, of course. It's going to be Sangan. Okay, so John Doe just baiting out a little bit of potential interaction. Kerman didn't take the bait, so we're just going to start beating in with the Sangan. This is actually one of the perfect cards to have as a Chaos player against Burn because it is level 3 and it does a good chunk of damage per turn. So going to be applying pressure here to Kerman, even under the level limit Area B that we know that they have, and not go locking themselves like a Gravekeeper Spy would have, or trio locking themselves like Gravekeeper Spy would have. We're just going to pass. Looks like they didn't draw any new back row for turn. And decent start here for John Doe, just getting a little bit of aggro going on. Kerman's just going to draw a pass. Just chilling here. Sangan can continue to kind of pitch away. We're going to get Tsukuyomi here to continue to apply, basically doubling the clock here. 2,100 points of damage coming through. We know Kerman has no interaction to this, and notably, Tsukuyomi is a very good monster in this at this point in time because it lets you increase your clock while not filling up a monster zone so you don't get trio locked, right? Whereas if you summon Tribe or something, not that Tribe would trio lock you because you could just break it immediately, but any other non-spirit normal summonable monster would make the trio a lot more live here. Now Kerman, there is a world where you just fire off the trio plus Just Desserts here anyway, so you get max damage out of the Just Desserts and hit him for 25. You kind of have to do it with the Sukon board to get the extra 500. So I wouldn't be surprised to see that coming through, but you could also hold it for a little bit if you so choose. You can also just do it in main phase 2 or something if you want. 2,100 damage to Kerman, though. And they're just going to pass. So Kerman holding on to all of their stuff just yet. Down to 4,900 though. This is a lot of damage coming through every turn. I wonder if you probably just play the level limit here just to stop the Sook from coming down. But then, and this is why I was saying Kerman maybe would have wanted to just go for the trio plus Just Desert's play last turn. If you want to level limit to prevent the Tsukuyomi damage from coming through, then John Doe's not incentivized to commit anything else to the board, so you're not going to be getting your max damage out of the Just Desserts, right? So if you wanted to min-max and make sure you could do that extra 500, you probably just fire it off there, and then you can always just go level limit on this turn to shut off the Sook damage. It's kind of my thought. But maybe they have some other plans up their sleeve, plenty of unknown cards in the hand at this point that we don't know about. Just going to fire off the level limit, though, so just wanting to stop the Sook damage, but the Sangan Pain Train is still coming through. John Doe, a lot of cards in hand. Every turn, Secret Barrel gets a little bit stronger as well, of course. We're going to MST the level limit. Okay, so John Doe, smartly saving, as you should do in this matchup, unless you're in imminent threat of dying, which, of course, John Doe is not. Saving their back row removal for the Battle Floodgates is key, so I really like this play out of John Doe here. MSTing the level limit, and now you can continue to get in with the Tsukuyomi. Kerman now saying, okay, yeah, might as well get my full damage with the desserts. My opponent knows it's coming through. Temporarily trio locking your opponent, but not the end of the world. Fire the desserts at some point. Yeah, deal 25. Maybe, I guess maybe waiting for their back row to be gone to make sure that this could happen. I could see doing that. Like, you have a couple turns where they might go for this Sook stuff. But now, definitely, especially when there's no back row to potentially throw a wrench in things, just go for it. You're not going to, John Doe knows it's coming, so you might as well just do it. But Kerman's going to drop all the way down to 2,800 here, which is a little bit scary. Not lethal just yet between the two cards that Kerman knows about, but still a 2-turn clock. Kerman, though, has the trio resolved, has the Secret Barrel to deal a decent bit of damage more, and 3 unknown cards. We still know there's Giant Trunade in hand as well. We're going to go normal summon Gyaku Gire Panda, though, so Kerman finding the big beater. A lot of damage likely coming in here. This is a 2,800 attack point Panda, so attacking over one of the tokens will deal 2,100 in factoring in the trio token effect on destruction. So this is a lot of damage coming through, plus the Secret Barrel. I wonder, do you just fire off the Secret Barrel right now? If you plan on killing something? I guess you could kill the Sangan. You'd deal 300 less damage, but they would still keep the card in, so you'd do an extra 200 from the Secret Barrel. So it's kind of roughly the same damage, and it still keeps the trio tokens on board. So actually there is a world where you just kill the Sangan here. I don't think you actually care about any searches, really. I mean, Faith grabbing Mystical Space Typhoon is fine, but if all they're going to do is play Magician of Faith, it is what it is. And that's actually, you're fine attacking over that. That's actually a lot of damage. Now, the one thing to note, though, we do know that John Doe has Tribe Infecting Virus in hand, and that is one way to just completely wipe this board, right, that Kerman doesn't know about, but the trio tokens are beasts, so they can just come down, call beast, and then for the price of 1 card, clear out all the trio tokens plus this panda that's pressuring them. By the time that's happened, Kerman will have done a good chunk of damage, but we do know that this board is not likely to last very long. Panda's going to come through, though. We're just going to kill the token, keep that Sangan around. So if this was the plan, definitely a world where maybe you Secret Barrel there. I mean, you could just do it in draw phase, I guess. Or just wait, and if you think the opponent's going to have even more cards coming down, set another back row. Okay. So John Doe, pretty low on life, but so is Kerman. We're just going to fire with the Secret Barrel here after the draw. Yeah, so just totally fine there if that's when your plan was to Secret Barrel. Doesn't matter if you do it before or after killing that token. There's a lot of damage coming in here on John Doe, and I think 2 Secret Barrels is probably just GG at this point, right? We got 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16, 18, 2K. So yeah, double Secret Barrel is game. Secret Barrel plus Just Desserts is game. So Kerman might have just seen this one out. Oh, Ring of Destruction on the Panda is also game. There you go. Yeah, so game 1 here, 2 Panda Burn. Really nice. Weathered the storm there. John Doe was doing what you have to do in the matchup. Played it well, I think. You saved your back row removal for the Battle Floodgate. You applied pressure with Sangan and Tsukuyomi as best you could. But Kerman just had a nice flurry of damage coming through their post-Trap Dust Shoot. They had the Ojama Trio to power up their Panda and their Just Desserts and also their Secret Barrel. And then Ring of Destruction plus Panda is also a nice little combo to deal a lot of damage there. Kerman was low on life, so that ring could have been a little bit risky, but enough to kill the opponent and not them, as it turns out. And game 1 is going to go to our Panda Burn player. Game 2, John Doe, who just seems to be running a standard Chaos Turbo list, will be able to go first, and that is quite nice when you're the Turbo player. Especially post-side against Burn, you have a lot of stuff to bring in. One or more Mystic Walks, usually the third Raigeki break, card destruction if you're not maining it, stuff like that. All very strong options against Burn, just to, find your good back row removal, essentially. Gonna lead out with Thunder Dragon here, yeah, so confirming that John Doe is on a Chaos deck. Thinning the deck a little bit. And then they are gonna fire off the card destruction, yeah, so understanding the assignment, Cardi is gonna come through. This is basically for free, because you got these Thunder Dragons to discard. Ooh, and we had Night Assailant in hand to get even more value here. Going to bounce that Faith back. So this is a huge, huge card destruction here for John Doe. Very strong card in the matchup, as I already alluded to. Ooh, and they're hitting some really good stuff in the Burn player's hands. That's got to hurt if you're Kerman. Pot and Graceful hitting the grave, as well as Cyberjar, which is basically a Trinity Strength card, even maybe stronger in Burn than some of the Trinity pieces sometimes, if it can resolve, of course. But yeah, that is a lot of big units hitting the grave here for Kerman, and they are, I know it's still turn 1 and no one's really done anything, but looking pretty good here for John Doe just off of this one card destruction resolution, which, I know it is a very high volatility card, especially when you're playing against like more fair decks like in the Turbo Mirror and things like that. But sometimes it can just do insane things like this, and John Doe capitalizing on it here in game 2. Yeah, Night Assailant can bounce back the Magician of Faith. You have Chaos live already. Now, the one thing that they might miss here is that Breaker. Breaker is a very good card against Burn, of course. Any back row removal is at a premium. But because you had Night Assailant and Double T Dragon Hand, I still think it's definitely worth it. There's maybe a world where you just normal the Breaker first and then card destruction, but, I think it's fine either way. Especially because you didn't need the Dark Engrave, because Night Assailant was going to be there. But I think it could go either way, of course. And then John Doe still has a nice opening play. And I guess if you wanted to just use your normal summon on the Magician of Faith, I wouldn't blame you. Looks like John Doe didn't draw into any Trinity pieces, but it was pretty likely that they would have hit at least one post-card destruction, such that they could then set Faith and recur it next turn. So that's probably a little bit better of a play than just normaling the Breaker into nothing, right? So I understand John Doe going for this play. Now, that's not to say that this set is definitely Magician of Faith. It's, of course, likely because we know it was in hand. Faith Grab Card D, I guess, would be kind of nice, especially because you haven't seen any Trinity yet, so you want to get to your good stuff. But, Dekoichi is really good here. You could also just set Spy like we saw last game. So, a lot of options for John Doe after spinning their hand away. Kerman is going to go normal summon Mystic Swordsman level 2. Definitely a good card against flip heavy decks like Chaos Turbo. A little bit more of a fair card coming out here against Burn, but it is, a lot of the times you win against Burn is like when you can resolve Faith regrabbing like Walk or Heavy Storm or things like that. So as the Burn player, sometimes it behooves you to have a little bit more set monster interaction just to prevent the Chaos Turbo player from going crazy with their flips. It's a non-zero amount of damage that does get under a Battle Floodgate as well, so a little bit of synergy with the game plan from that perspective. And if you are on a Panda Burn list that is running like Giant Rats, which is pretty common, it is also a Giant Rat target. So just a good kind of all-around card here, even if it doesn't necessarily further the Burn game plan specifically, it is just a good card to shore up a lot of the weaknesses in the matchup. John Doe here, though, ready for a little bit of the beaters post-side. Mirror Force still in the 55. Definitely think that makes sense when you know your opponent's running Panda. And we're going to protect our likely Magician of Faith here with this Mirror Force, which is really, really solid. Now, main phase 2, Kerman could just have Nobleman of Crossed or something. No, we're going to fire off Level Limit Area B and then add a back row. But now if this is Magician of Faith, things could get interesting. We're going to get end phase MST on the new back row, on the unknown back row, hitting Secret Barrel, so maybe this kind of signifies to me that, I guess John Doe, if your set is Magician of Faith, you could just go MST, pop a back row, eliminating some burn out of Kerman's, arsenal, And then MST is a very good Magician of Faith target in this matchup, so you can just flip it up and pop the level limit there as well. And then you're still outing their Floodgate while getting a little bit of a bonus there, right? So you can kind of see what I'm talking about, assuming the set is Magician of Faith, right? Um, it resolving is just so good in this matchup because there are so many good spells that you want to be playing that Burn is kind of forced to play extra. Like, you definitely keep in your Nox, and you're kind of forced to play extra set monster hate just because if the opponent can even resolve a one good Magician of Faith against you, it's often GG against Burn. So let's see if that's going to be what comes out here. We're going to put someone into Koichi. Okay, so John Doe not going for the Faith play just yet. A little bit interesting, but they still have Faith 3 grab MST in the future if they so choose. We're going to go Tsukuyomi. Okay, so now this is really strong, establishing a Suk loop. However, you're still not using your normal summon to get Magician of Faith, and if MST was your only out to the level limit, this is kind of a double-edged sword, right? Because you're increasing the cards in your hand, making Secret Barrels a little bit better, while without actually ever making progress because this Battle Floodgate sticks around. So John Doe going for the card advantage play here against Burn rather than just trying to push through as much damage as fast as possible could come back to bite them, but we still have plenty of game left to play, of course, here. Going to set a back row here. Now, if this is just like Raigeki Break or something that they were setting up for, and we're going to out the level limit that way, then this play, I think, definitely still makes sense. All depends on if you can easily out this Floodgate and start applying pressure. Kerman here has DD Warrior Lady. Cool. All right, so a little bit more of an aggro look here, or a little bit more of a fair look here, post side for this Panda Burn player. Now, we do know Burn players do like to do some fancy smokescreen stuff. They could just be siding into Earth aggro here, potentially. That is something you see sometimes. However, DD Warrior Lady is a level 4, so it conflicts with the level limit area B, so not really sure exactly what this is supposed to do at this point in time. Just getting something on the board, I guess. You might as well just set it at that point, right? Because then at least you can, like, bait out Nox for a potential morphing jar in the future, maybe. Yeah, DD War Lady is just gonna... I mean, I guess it can just be a nice wall if you're worried about your opponent popping the level limit. But it can wall in defense as well without giving away the information as to what it is, right? So interesting play there. Not sure exactly what it's going to accomplish. John Doe, though, content to just continuously flip up this to Koichi. Gonna go T-set pass here, and now I feel like it's probably the Magician of Faith coming through, recognizing that, you know what, I need to... It's not... The reason why, like, card destruction is good against Burn is because the game plan as Turbo isn't to get a lot of cards. It's not to drown your opponent in card advantage like it would be, like, in the mirror or against, like, another fair deck, right? So the Koichi plus Suk loop, which is amazing in most matchups, doesn't really do too much, right? Because it's, like I said, it's not about drawing a lot of cards, it's drawing the right cards, right? Which is why card destruction is so good, because it lets you dig through the deck. So I think Faith is a lot stronger, right? And I also feel like you could have also just gone for a Suk loop with the Faith later on, and like MST is better than just a random card from the top of your deck in the Burn matchup. So I'm not sure why we delayed setting this up a few turns to just go for a couple extra Dekoichi flips. I feel like it probably would have just been better to go for the Faith play ASAP. And start recurring MSTs if we could. And I mean, when you have both on the field, then you have the choice too. It's like, okay, is MST good here? I'll Suk my Faith and grab MST. Is Dekoichi is MST not good here? Okay, then I'll flip down my Dekoichi and draw a random card, right? So I'd rather set up my options here instead of just getting some extra top decks while I'm not doing anything. Now, I still think John Doe is in a very good position here. Hasn't taken any damage to the life points just yet. Kerman seems to be playing a little bit of an awkward line here, so it's not like John Doe is going to lose imminently. But I think there was probably a little bit more of an effective line they could have taken here to get to a similar position, or better at this point in time, basically. Kerman here, we're going to go set a monster, set a back row pass. We're going to end phase Wind Blast. Cool. So John Doe seems to be on the Wind Blast technology, which notably is a lot worse against Burn than Raigeki Break. You could maybe be on both, but this is definitely one of the matchups where Raigeki Break is just like obviously better, right? Let's see, we're going to Wind Blast, discarding a Dekoichi. Sure. No need to have two at this point when you have the Suk, I guess. And we're going to bounce that back row. Cool. So just a little bit of a tempo play there, which is not as strong as just popping the level limit, of course. But we could very well just have Faith grab the MST, pop the level limit on this next turn. So maybe just wanting to make sure that this play was a little bit safer. That's the idea. John Doe here, draws for turn. We're going to go Graceful Charity first. Cool. Get you another good Magician of Faith target, of course, engrave. We're going to discard another Wind Blast and Upstart Goblin, two kind of mid cards against burn, like we saw, so definitely makes sense there. And just the raw filtration ability of Graceful, it's basically a mini card destruction in this matchup, right? So definitely pretty solid. We're going to go flip up Magician of Faith. That should be an attack position. It is not level 4. And we're going to actually go for the Graceful here. Okay, so once again, just going to power through cards here. Discarding Jar and Meta. Okay, so John Doe is actually on Chaos Control, it seems, with the Metamorphosis coming in here. And now we're going to go Tsukiyomi, flip the Faith face down, set a back row pass. And we're still not making any progress. We're getting a million cards, right? But, like, I don't know. Are we just worried about the DD Warrior Lady walling us out? I guess if we have no out to DD Warrior Lady, maybe that's what we're digging for. Huh. Or maybe we're worried that we don't have Nobleman of Crossout. But if we don't have Nobleman of Crossout for this set, you probably just want to... You probably should have just Wind Blasted that, right? I don't know. Just seems like we're doing a lot of dirtling without really having anything going on. We're up a million cards, but Burn doesn't really care too much about that, right? Coming here, drawing the card that just got bounced off the Wind Blast. So back up to the same 6 cards I had last time. Just going to set it and add another monster here. So not flipping this up means it's probably not the Morphing Jar. Probably not Desk Koala as well. That would definitely get flipped here with a lot of cards in John Doe's hand. So my thought is it could very well be like a Big Shield Gardener. Could be like a Giant Rat if Kerman's on that, which seems more likely when they're on the Mystic Swordsman plan. So definitely not a flip that you need to freak out about here if you're John Doe. But this new one could be Morphing Jar. We're going to go Faith. Grab Graceful again. We're going to go Trio here, though, so preventing the Tsukiyomi from coming down. And now you don't have Faith for MST as an option anymore. Which might be an issue. Now you are Trio locked here. Still under level limit. Faith should be in attack position, although it doesn't really matter. I'm going to fire off the Graceful here. Are we just like digging for Heavy Storm? We're going to discard Night Assailant and Chaos Sorcerer, 2 cards that you cannot play at this point in time. Assailant can bounce back another Assailant, but do you really care? Probably not. I'd rather make my opponent's Secret Barrels a little bit worse at this point in time. Pot of Greed to dig further. Okay, we've got 4 billion cards. Oh, okay, so we have Mystic Walk. Nice. Mystic Walk and Ojama token to free ourselves from the Trio Lock. Go up a bunch of life as well, which is pretty nice. Now, discarding Chaos Sorcerer makes me think you've got another Chaos Monster in hand here, so I would not be surprised to see BLS hitting the board at this point in time. We're going to go for Tribe, and Tribe is a nice all-in-one answer, both to the Trio Lock as well as getting rid of some of these annoying monsters like DD Warrior Lady. So John Doe is up just a million cards from everything. Now, Tribe should be in defense because of level limit, right? We're going to go little Night Assailant loop there. Discard Night Assailant, regrab the other one. Free discard off of Tribe with the Night Assailant, of course. Clear out those beasts. You'll take 600, but that's totally fine. And we're going to call probably Warrior and kill the DD Warrior Lady. Makes sense there. And then, do we have Heavy Storm? Okay, we're going to go for BLS, banish the new set monster in case it's Morphing Jar. It is Sangan, but you're also pretty happy about that as well. Totally fine. And then we did finally find some back row removal. So the Heavy Storm is going to come down, remove the level limit, hits our own Sakuretsu armor as well, but when you're up a million cards, collateral damage is totally fine. We're going to meta our BLS into Gatling Dragon here to try and pop this set monster. If the read is that's like Big Shield Gardener or something, definitely makes sense to me. And we kind of did it the hard way, but we drew ourselves into a very strong board here, and Kerman has basically no resources, so I think John Doe is going to pretty easily win this game. Looks like they got double heads off the Gatling Dragon. So you need to kill one of your own monsters as well, right? You're gonna kill the Dekoichi. I think that's fine. And now you can get in for 26. You could also get in for 300 because the Faith should be in attack position, right? But it is what it is. I'm going to set it back for a pass. And now Kerman is in a very bad spot here. John Doe has near lethal on board. Is it actually just lethal? No, it's not. You're 900 short. Oh, but I guess the Tsukuyomi makes it lethal. So yeah, John Doe passing here with lethal being threatened. If Kerman can find another battle floodgate, that could be nice, but we just have Suk plus Faith for the back row removal. And yeah, like I said, John Doe kind of did it the hard way. But like I said before, anytime you can like resolve Magician of Faith, even just once against Burn, but multiple times, you're probably going to win that game. So, you know, maybe made it harder on themselves than they needed to be, but it really wasn't in too much of a doubt. Just because they happened, they had the anti-burn cards somewhere in the 40 that they needed to find. So it's going to work out here in game 2. Almost definitely. John Doe, over 8,000 life points here with Kerman on 2 cards. So now they're going to come through. Oh, Snatch can make things a little bit interesting. Do you snatch the Gatling Dragon, try and blow up stuff? Do you snatch the Tribe, clear the board with that? I mean, I feel like you probably need to go hope you flip a bunch of heads with the Gatling Dragon. Because you need to answer Tribe and Faith, right? I mean, I guess you could snatch Tribe, call Machine, kill the Gatling Dragon, and then beat over the Faith. But then Tribe just loses to Tsukuyomi. So I feel like the Gatling Dragon play, hope you high roll, is probably correct. Surely you'll get at least 1 heads, right? Surely. Okay, 1 heads. Nice. 2 heads is good here. Just the one, I guess you probably pop the Tribe and then try and beat over the Magician of Faith. That's probably the idea. And we're going to go Panda here as well. Now, reminder, this Faith should be in attack position. So if we're attacking over with Panda, you should be able to deal 100 more damage. We're going to just Torrential anyway, so at the end of the day, it does not matter. John Doe has so many cards that it does, like, you can just freely Torrential at this point, wipe the board, and you're still up so much. And Kerman, yeah, sees the writing on the wall, going to be down to 0 cards. Snatch Seal was kind of their last-ditch play to make anything happen. And we're just going to go to game 3 here. Kerman on their Panda Burn list will be going first. Trying, uphill battle. We saw John Doe had all of the major anti-burn units. We saw Heavy Storm. We saw Mystical Space Typhoon. We saw Mystic Walk. We saw Card Destruction. And this is kind of life for Burn post-side, right? You try to catch the opponent off guard in game 1, win that, and then you fight the uphill battle in games 2 and 3 against all the side deck hate, trying to steal one of those. And so, to that effect, things kind of going to plan here still for Kerman, despite game 2 not being particularly close, but they do have first player advantage here, which could be all that they need to take down this match. They're going to start out with a T-set pass. Has not emptied the hand, so Morphing Jar not really a threat here. But Cyber Jar would be good. We also know that they're on Deskawala. John Doe is going to go knock the set, hitting Sangan. Okay, so Kerman could just be baiting out here for some of their jars. And with a knock gone, you're pretty happy about that. John Doe is going to fire off Thunder Dragon. Not too bad. And then we're going to go T-set pass there as well. So taking the tempo advantage back here using that knock. Now Kerman is the one on the back foot. Going to lead out. Ooh, we've got Mystic Swordsman level 2 once again to threaten these set monsters. Now no real threat of like Magician of Faith at this point. Faith Grab Knock is like fine, I guess, against Burn. But could get some good damage here with this Mystic Swordsman. Gonna hit Tsukuyomi. Interesting. So John Doe just setting Suk, I guess, trying to bait out a Mystic Swordsman or something. Or maybe hoping that it dies so that they could get Chaos Live. That could be an interesting ploy. But for the time being, they are -1, thanks to the Mystic Swordsman just killing the Suk for free. Maybe they'll make it up with Sork coming down, banishing the Mystic Swordsman. But for now, Kerman in a decent spot. And then we're going to fire off Level Limit Area B here as well. So has a Battle Floodgate with a monster to pressure underneath it. So looking good here for a Burn player right off the bat. John Doe potentially a little bit of an awkward hand, making them want to set the Tsukuyomi here on their first turn. But we'll see if that was just kind of a bait or something, or if they set up for a potentially bigger play here. Let's see. Yeah, so likely they had the Chaos Monster to come down here. Sork here in defense position can go ahead, recoup that lost card. By banishing the Mystic Swordsman, we are now back to parity, but still in a stalemate because this level limit is sticking around unanswered. Adding a back row here for John Doe. Kerman really just has the one card, keeping the opponent at bay, but we'll see if they can, make something happen here. We're going to go Exiled Force. Really nice, efficient way of dealing with the Chaos Monster. John Doe is going to Mystic Walk in response, though. So this is Exiled Force getting a nice little 2-for-1, but John Doe's going to gain 2,300 life points off of it, which is definitely worth more than a card against Burn, so I think you're totally happy taking that trade. And you've also baited out your opponent's Exiled with that, which is quite nice. As opposed to just going -2, which a Mystic Walk on Sork would be on its own. You got to do it in response to something, so nice play here out of John Doe. And anytime you're over 10,000 life against Burn, you are a pretty happy camper. So things now looking good here for John Doe. Finding that Mystic Walk early, didn't even need any of the draw power in the deck, didn't need card destruction or pot or graceful to find the Mystic Walk, just drawing it naturally, and that bodes very, very well for their chances here in Game 3. Gonna go Jar of Greed, dig even further into the deck. Into Delinquent Duo, another absolute house of a card against Burn. Has plenty of life points to spare here, still at plus 9,000 life points. I'm going to get to rip out 2 cards out of Kerman's hand, setting them very far behind. You hit a Panda, and they discard Trio, of course. Now, if you got nothing to combo with it, definitely makes sense. And yeah, John Doe is just in a very, very good spot here. As long as they can out the level limit, but we do know that they have plenty of answers to it in their deck. So will not be surprised to see that come through anytime soon. John Doe going to set a monster pass. Kerman really just needs to stall out for as long as they possibly can and try and redraw their way back into this game. But it's definitely going to be an uphill battle from here on out. They're going to go set a monster, set a back row pass. John Doe draws for turn. Flip up Night Assailant. Very, very good card against Burn. It's another answer to set monsters, potential jars. That isn't a mind control, which you don't want to be using against Burn because you don't want to flip up their jars for them. So Night Assailant getting tons of value here. It's going to pop Morphing Jar, which is huge. That was Kerman's best way of getting back into this game. And yeah, things are going to look really, really good here for our Chaos Turbo, or Chaos Control player here for the rest of the game. Setting a back row there, plus a monster, and Kerman is just under tons of pressure at this point. So add to back row. John Doe can flip up to Koichi, draw a card. Still in defense thanks to this level limit, but churning through the deck is of top priority here for John Doe, of course. Graceful Charities is going to really help with that. Let's see what we discard. Going to be Double Thunder Dragon, kind of as expected. Gets another Chaos Monster loaded up in the chamber as well, potentially. And now we can set another monster, hit in for 200. Still a little bit of damage from after turn. Might as well. Set a back row pass. Kerman has Knock, top deck for this new set monster, so the second Night Assailant is going to get banished. Kind of interesting. Clears the way for a potential Cyber Jar if you do have that card coming through for Kerman. And honestly, at this point, John Doe not doing too much pressure. Pretty clear that they don't have an out to the level limit just yet. So just waiting for these floodgates to open, but this is buying Kerman a good amount of time to draw back into this game. So John Doe still needs to play well to close this one out, I think. See what the play is. Just going to poke in for 200 again. Pass turn. Draw go. Yep, just a little bit of a pseudo stalemate here. Night Assailant is not really a real clock. Draw pass. We're going to go... Okay, so they had MST for this level limit the whole time. Really interesting. You could have just been poking in with your Dekoichi these last few turns. But now we're setting up for the Sork play to come down, and now we're getting aggressive. Okay. We're going to meta the Sork. Okay, so this is a very, very resource-intensive play. But if we can go into Ryu Senshi and play around potential Mirror Forces, Ojama Trios, things like that, can be very strong. It's also snatch-proof, which is pretty nice. So now John Doe, I guess, finding this Sork plus meta combo, deciding now is the time to get aggressive. Holding the MST, until now to go for this play. I feel like he could have just used it before and hit in a couple turns with the Dekoichi, but not the end of the world. And I think now with Ryu Senshi on the board, things are just looking really good regardless. We can go Tribe here for extra damage as well. This is a lot of threats here on the board. And Kerman's dropping down very, very low. John Doe gets to pass lethal on board with the Ryu Senshi to throw a wrench in Kerman's plans if they ever try to resolve a trap card. John Doe has 8 or 9 activations of the Ryu Senshi here. So, yeah, I think this is probably just checkmate, if I had to guess. Kerman's going to add a couple back row pass, but surely this is... I mean, I guess Gravity Bind could keep you in this, because Ryu Senshi can't negate Gravity Bind, because it's not a normal trap, it's a continuous trap. But outside that, it's not looking too hot. Ryu Senshi for game. We're going to Gravity Bind. Okay. So it's going to be a 10-turn clock represented by Night Assailant coming through here. But Kerman will live to see another day with basically the one card in their deck that they found to make this happen. Back row going to get added. Could be Wind Blast for game later. John Doe is on that card. We're going to end phase Ring of Destruction on the Tribe. So Kerman's going to drop down to 200 life points. Or at least threatening to. You could negate this with the Ryu Senshi. But Kerman dropping down to 200 so that the Night Assailant is lethal is very tempting. No, I guess this assumes Kerman wouldn't do this if they didn't have an out to the Night Assailant, maybe. This is really interesting. I mean, at this point, Kerman might just be in like mind game land where it's like, you know what, maybe my opponent will negate this and that's good or something. Just trying to pave the way for something to happen here. You know, all bets are kind of off at this point. John Doe definitely has to think about this one. I mean, I guess it's not like you care about Ojama Trio, right? Because your opponent can't activate it anyway. Or, like, Kerman can't activate it anyway, and Ryu Senshi would just negate it. I guess what would you want to be summoning that you want Tribe to not be around for? Maybe Panda? Like, you can go Panda, kill Ryu Senshi, and then the Tribe would be annoying at that point. So maybe that's the play. So you probably just negate this as John Doe, just in case, like it is the Panda. And because then you take 1,000 instead of 1,600, which is probably just better. Yeah. And there's very little downside to negating this, right? So Kerman here, interesting ploy. I think John Doe make the right call there. Kerman's just going to draw a pass. Night Assailant, now a 9-turn clock. It's done a lot of damage this game. The little Night Assailant that could. John Doe going to set a back row pass. We're going to get Giant True Nade, but we're going to chain Ring for game. Is this enough? You need, like, a counter trap, right? Otherwise, Ryu Senshi can just negate anything you can chain to this. Maybe Book of Moon if Kerman plays it. But no, that's just going to be it, yeah. No outs to that one. Ring is going to come through, and kind of exactly the game plan here for Chaos decks. I guess this is Chaos Control versus Burn. You lose game 1, but post-side you bring in all the goodies, take out all the bad stuff like your Scapegoats and your Gravekeeper Spies, and we're going to take it down 2-1. Chaos Control versus Panda Burn. Hope you guys enjoyed this one. Reminder, I will be streaming the FLC 36 GOAT format. Big tournament. Lots of top players will be there, so definitely tune in on the GOATformat.com YouTube channel for that tomorrow if you are around. Really excited to be there. Hope it'll be a good one. Hope you like this video as well, and I will catch you all next time.